I think part of it is also, which I took note of, is that the way the technicalities involved in the hanging. So, for example, they were tied up, all their hands were tied up with ropes, very tightly, all of them, and they were blindfolded. Secondly, and they were gagged, so they couldn't speak. So the fact that A, you're blindfolded, you cannot see other people around you, their reaction. So you wouldn't be able to know this has gone really bad. B, even if you got a sense of it, you cannot speak it out. Your mouth is closed, so you cannot scream. So other people are not going to get influenced. And C, if you want to get out, your hands are tied, so you cannot get out. So like, even though, in the diary, what is so creepy is that he says in the voice of his grandfather, ki you should do all of these things. You should tie your hands, you should put cotton in your ear. Again, you can't hear other people then, right? If you put cotton in your ears, you should blindfold yourself, you should gag your mouth. All of this is in part makes it difficult for them to get out of this situation and know what they're really in it once they're in it, right?
Wow, that's actually a very interesting finding. Like I never noticed this. And now that you have said this, and I haven't watched the third episode, so I'm not entirely sure. But to have such a thorough plan it wouldn't be impulsive, right? It could have been planned, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, there are people who speculate, of course, it's premeditated. I mean, they have speculated like Lalit wanted to have an upper hand, but I don't know how much we can really talk about it concretely, because that's the mystery of this case. We only thing that we know, or only things that we know, is through the diaries. That's it. And the diaries are, even though they're insightful, they have so much mystery around them. We don't really know much. The fact that they didn't speak to anyone, in all these 11 years, as Somil was saying about domestic abuse, is such a good point, because in domestic abuse, if there are so many incentives to be in it, or incentive is not the right word, but if there's so many reasons why they're bound up, and why they can't leave. If there is one reason that they can leave, is if they speak out, if they speak to other people who give them other points of view which they wouldn't have inside the marriage, right? This is exactly something which was lacking in this case. They, if they would have been able to speak to someone else, they would have gotten another point of view, which of course would have put an end to this. But none of them spoke out. So we don't know so much. And the fact that we don't know so much shows that they were able to go to such an extreme, because they were in their own circle.
Yeah, that makes sense. And like that's where the abuser comes into picture now. Like especially when we're talking about domestic abuse, we usually have this parallel. He's either a pit bull or a cobra. So I'm not going to get too much into the pit bull aspect, but the cobra. Why do we call them cobras? Because cobras, traditionally snakes, we like they are associated with sly thinking and all of that. So the abuser in all of these cases makes sure that the victim does not speak out. How in this case Lalit must have ensured that the victims are not like the other members of the family are not speaking out. Like there was one diary entry where he says गलतियाँ करते हो और फिर आके बताते हो कि गलतियाँ नहीं की. So that could be something like where the family members have gone out and spoken about it or not followed an instruction. So
Yeah, they definitely didn't speak about it. But definitely what you're saying is right, that these things, they put everyone in line.